Alrighty, here we are. It's Monday. I got coffee. It's ready to go. We got stuff to talk about. Woo. What's better than that? What is better than that, Susan? It's a great way to start the week. Don't you think? And 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Monday, October 5th, 2020. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. You may have noticed I cut my hair, trimmed my face. I am shorn. I'm tired. I slept well, but I had a busy weekend and I would like to have slept longer. Working inside and outside, around the house, all weekend. Just Friday was busy. Managed to get out the packet of information for the lemon law stuff for my car. I mailed off, just to put this in perspective, over half a ream of paper. Yeah. Not impressed. Just the time and the money that have gone into this alone is, if we add up the time and the gasoline and everything dealing with these problems, it's a car payment. At least. So I am hopeful that I receive a large, at the very least, a large cash settlement. If I walk out with 10 grand, I'll be happy. That's pretty much my minimum. Actually, that's not my minimum to be happy, because I put down almost 10 grand on the card. But whatever. Whatever, Zuza. I'm not going to dwell on that, because it makes me frustrated. What else happened? Just lots of yard projects and garage projects and cleaning and plants, and wanted to take a nap, didn't take a nap. Working with clients. And I've got more of the same. I think I've got like 5 calls today. I'm busy. It's going well. I got word, I haven't checked it yet, but I got word that all the infection is gone from whistlekickmartialartsradio.com. I'm very excited about that. What else? What else can I tell you? That's about it. I need 3-day weekends. I really do. I need to find a way to stop working on Fridays. And of course, I can't this weekend. And as I'm thinking about this, I'm realizing I'm going to have to find things to let go of, to stop doing, to quit, to cancel. I don't know what those are yet. I get people who come to me and they say, Jeremy, how do you get so much done? Actually, I get that question a lot. And the honest answer is, I'm really efficient. I know how to get these things dialed in. I organize and systemize everything I can. And I have days that I work really late. But more importantly, I've got a lot of people who help. Great people who help. There are a lot of little things that I just can't wrap my mind around doing, because if I add them up over the week, it's like another 100 things. And those 100 things might only take, let's say, 5 or 6 hours, maybe 10 on a busy week. But that's still a lot of time. For the people who help, that ends up being 5 minutes or 15 minutes, and they don't mind. And so that means the world to me. So if any of you were watching or listening, thank you. I really appreciate it. Coffee came out great this morning. Maybe that's a harbinger of what's to come for the day and the week. Tasty coffee means tasty day. Who knows? It's Monday, there's an episode. It's not out yet. I'm not sure why. They were showing up before we launched First Cup. I don't know why they're not. I should figure that out. Talk to Julius. Might be a scheduling thing. Anything else going on today? Go to the gym. I've started thinking, it's always dangerous. I'm starting to play with the ideas of adding another program. I like doing the programs. I think it's time for another one. And the next one is flexibility, I think. I have to check the roadmap. But flexibility might work. Here's the challenge in flexibility, though. The majority of people putting out flexibility-based programs, it's the same stuff. It's do this position and hold it for an hour, and do this position and do this position. If you do this every day, and it's time-consuming, and it's uncomfortable, and it ignores the way the body cares about flexibility. So, do I do that? Do I do that as the next one and risk frustrating people, including some of my friends? I have friends with flexibility programs. At some point, I will have to make it. I don't know if now is the time. Finishing the updates on the strength, the fight conditioning program. That's on the list. I don't know if that's going to be today or tomorrow. Like I said, it's a busy day. We'll get there. All right, let's see what you all wrote in. If you have questions, if you have comments, you have quotes, you can drop them below after the show, and I will respond to them tomorrow. I tried to rhyme the tomorrow, not the rest. Okay. Today we have stuff from Frank and from Gabe. And Gabe leaving something reminds me, tomorrow, 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, Whistlekick Live on Facebook. We got new stuff. The show continues to evolve. In huge thanks, to Gabe. Huge thanks to Frank for this show. This show is continuing to evolve thanks to Frank. See, I mentioned two people right there who have been tremendously helpful. People I value greatly. And, yeah. Okay. So, looks like we're rounding out some more quotes from Zen and the Martial Arts. Frank, I hope you are enjoying this book. I do. And I hope all of you, if you have not read it, go read it. If you like me, if you like Whistlekick, if you like the things that I say, and you have not read Zen and the Martial Arts, I guess you're not wrong. But I think that so much of what I learn philosophically and the way I look at martial arts is due to this book. It's 35 years ago with this book is how I started on this journey. Yes, my original instructors had a lot to do with it, and we did talk about some of that stuff. But think about the formative years, 7, 8, 9 years old, reading this book had an impact. I wish I could train you to make coffee. If that was your only trick, that would be great. It's a cat. The mind of a perfect man is like a mirror. It grasps nothing. It expects nothing. It reflects but does not hold. Therefore, the perfect man can act without effort. CHUANG-TZU. That first statement, it grasps nothing. It doesn't mean grasp as in understand. It means grasp as in cling to, be possessive of. Think about this in terms of combat. If it's reflective, what does that mean? You're reacting. All of your actions are based on something that your partner, your opponent, does. A great fighter finds the nuance in what you do, the small opening, the angle where you're unbalanced, and leverages that. You may not realize they're reacting to you, but they are. The best fighters that I've worked with taught me a tremendous amount about myself because I didn't realize that the vulnerabilities they so clearly saw were even there. In life, I think it's pretty easy to spot someone who lives in this way, someone who responds to what you say, who reacts to your emotion, versus someone who just charges in with their own stuff. It doesn't accommodate or reflect or even consider that you're there. What's that statement? Most people listen so they can talk. Listen to hear, not to respond. There, that's the word. Most people listen so they can respond. Yeah. Next, a little crunchy. The less effort, the faster and more powerful you will be. Bruce Lee. You know what's funny? We could take just about any quote, any string of words, say that Bruce Lee said it, and we're going to have 3 responses. Actually, we're going to have 2 responses. We're going to have a small group of people saying, he didn't say that, and they may be right, depending on who the people are. Or you're going to have people saying that it's the best statement ever. We recently had something, and I intentionally didn't take it down. It was a quote attributed to Bruce Lee that past guest to the show, Richard Baylor, was kind enough to point out he didn't say that, or at least there's no evidence that he said that. The sentiment was good, and I appreciate the correction. I'm glad when we're corrected in that way. It can be so hard because so many Bruce Lee quotes and stories are quoted from that source. It can be really time consuming to track them back. And so sometimes we mess up. Anyway, I completely lost track of the quote. The less effort, the faster and more powerful you will be. This is something that is really, I think, blows a lot of minds. Okay. The more muscles you're using just to maintain a static position, the slower you're going to be, the poorer your reactions. A tight muscle cannot move quickly. This is the foundation of the speed program. This is why, if you look at the way Bruce Lee stood, very similar to the way a lot of kickboxers will stand. That front hand just kind of hanging out, that back hand up. You will not see very many high-level fighters in a side stance with their guards up. They don't need to be there. It's slower. But let's unpack the key word in that statement, powerful. What is power? Power is strength and speed. you know anything about Bill Wallace, and in fact, I know this concept from him so well because it's on their certificates. It's in my bedroom. I see it every day. In speed, you can develop power. Not necessarily in power can you develop speed. And kind of synonymizing strength and power in that, in a way that it's not completely accurate. But power is strength and speed. Right? You can add speed and generate more power. You add strength, sometimes you reduce power. Sometimes strength makes you slow. Sometimes strength makes you less accurate. Sometimes strength works, does everything you need it to do, but you don't recover as well. Or think about how much energy it takes to throw a technique strongly versus fast. You can flip up a technique, bam, without a lot of effort. You start throwing those techniques really strong, it's going to take a lot of energy. There's something to be said for working on speed. Strength comes. Strength comes with comfort and with time and just generally being more muscular. Speed. Speed's where it's at. Right? She agrees. Last quote here. Oh, this is an excerpt. A Zen master out for a walk with one of his students pointed out a fox chasing a rabbit. According to an ancient fable, the rabbit will get away from the fox, the master said. Not so, replied the student. The fox is faster. But the rabbit will elude him, insisted the master. Why are you so certain? Asked the student. This is one of my favorite parts of the book. Because the fox is running for his dinner and the rabbit is running for his life. Think about that for a second. A fox can miss a meal. The rabbit is running for his life. Now, obviously you could read a lot into this and say, well, if that were true, the fox would never catch a rabbit, and play the odds. What are the odds, right? The odds are the rabbit's going to get away. Now think about how this applies to us as people. Having a conversation with somebody yesterday. A lot of us do only what is needed. We wait until the last minute. We wait until the deadline is there. We push off the things that should happen for the things that need to happen, and then sometimes the need to happen stuff gets stacked up. This is humanity. This is human nature. The way I've always expressed it, human beings are like goldfish. We grow to the size of the bowl that we are placed in. It's based on our expectations. It's the reason that somehow we find the money for the things that are critical. It's the reason that we show up 30 seconds before the meeting. It's the reason that we just manage to make this time-based thing happen so that thing can happen and then that thing happens. We're really good at doing what is needed and nothing more. We're okay at doing more than we need to. So the key is determining what is necessary and then what you want to do or what is important to you and connecting it with the why. If the stuff that you're supposed to do doesn't make sense for you, if you don't have a solid why, you're not going to do it. Why do I get out of bed every morning and do this show? I don't need to do this. Those of you watching, the majority of people who watch this show connect with Whistlekick on some other level. I don't, if we've sold some mugs, right? If I look at this purely from a financial side, this show doesn't make any sense. If I look at it from a purely a health perspective, I don't sleep as late. I go to bed at roughly the same time I would otherwise. It's hard to go to bed earlier. Trust me, there are plenty of days I'm in bed before 8:30, so I get up early. So it's not that. But why do it? Because it develops skills. It sets the tone for my day. If I think about what I do professionally, this show makes all kinds of sense. And the why for me, the why for Whistlekick is powerful. It's important. I don't need to be encouraged. I don't hit that snooze bar. I am up. I want to be here. I want to do this show. I want to talk to them. So if you can't figure out the why, maybe you need to change the what. And our last piece for today from Gabe. How do you think a show like Cobra Kai fits in the Whistlekick philosophy of uniting the martial arts? Great question. Cobra Kai's been picked up for a 4th season, even though we haven't seen a 3rd yet. 3rd is coming January. John Hurwitz, can we call him head writer? I think he's head writer. He's at least co-writer, co-creator. He's been on the show. John was kind enough to accept my Facebook invite, so I get to see a little bit, I don't want to say behind the scenes, but I get to see what's going on there. And so he broke the news Friday, and I was super pumped. Cobra Kai is a phenomenon, right? Cobra Kai is the biggest thing that's been on Netflix since Tiger King? In what, March, April? It's been a big deal. And so we get a lot of people paying attention to Cobra Kai. There's a lot of conversation about Karate Kid. And I said, as soon as it hit Netflix, as soon as we saw what was going on there, that people were paying attention to it, this could be the next great opportunity for martial arts schools. The last one we had, Ninja Turtles in the early to mid-90s. This could be the one that gets a lot of people paying attention to martial arts. And I'm seeing a little bit of capitalization on it, which is awesome. So how does a show like this fit into Whistlekick's goal to unify the martial arts? And when I talk about unification, I don't mean everybody does the same thing or under the same banner. I just mean support, mutual support, and the recognition that we are not competing for this, that our competition as martial artists, as martial arts schools, is not each other, but the vast array of other activities that people could be doing. So how does this fit in? It creates some awareness that schools could be capitalizing on. It creates nostalgia for people who used to train but have stopped. It creates the opportunity for conversation about what martial arts is. Because if we take a look at the dojo experience, there are a lot of really good things being represented in both the Cobra Kai and the Miyagi-Do dojos within the show. All the instructors in the show are flawed. Every one of them. From Daniel to Johnny to If you haven't finished season 2, I won't spoil it to others. They're all flawed. But they're flawed in ways that we can recognize. I think sometimes the cliche martial arts instructors that we see in TV and movies, if you haven't trained, you may not know that a lot of that is caricature. That yes, there may be some, some real old timer stuff going in some schools. Most schools don't train that way. But this, you can kind of read between the lines and say, okay, this is what I might expect from martial arts training. If I put my kid in this school, they might experience this, that, and the other thing. It's on us to take it to the next level. And this is why we have brought people on. We've made an effort to bring on people in and around the Cobra Kai show. We've had 2, 3 people from the Karate Kid films. Let's see. I am a firm believer, if you go back to when Into the Badlands was announced, I came out really strong and said, we need to support this or it'll go away. And we didn't, and it did. In typical martial arts fashion, so many of us picked it apart. It was a really good show. And shout out to everybody who's involved in it. Warrior from HBO or Showtime will probably fare better because it's got Shannon Lee behind it. Cobra Kai is a home run. And I said this in the first couple episodes when I watched, that it gets the story right, it gets the emotions right, and I fully recognize there's probably no more perfect example of who the show is for than me, right? Somebody who's incredibly passionate about martial arts in my early 40s, watched The Karate Kid a whole bunch of times, and I'm it, right? Does any of that answer the question? How does this fit into Whistlekick's vision? More martial arts content. More stuff out there encouraging and supporting and suggesting martial arts to the masses is great. I have a bunch of ideas for TV shows and for movies, things that who knows if we'll ever get them done. But I hope so. We're still in phase 1. What's phase 1? Trying to build the foundation in such a way that there's money to work on some of these things and take some risks and say, hey, let's greenlight this pilot over here for, a few $1 million. See if we can make it happen. Let's make this movie happen and, release it indie style and, see if we can make back the $5 million that'll go into that, right? We're nowhere near that. I got the receipt for the Patreon contributions for the month. We're not greenlighting anything yet. But it's the exact kind of show that I would love to see happen. And I'm glad it is. So, long-winded maybe answer, hopefully. Good questions, good thoughts. Thank you both to Gabe and Frank today. Special thank you to Frank for all that he does for this show and behind the scenes. Appreciate you. And I appreciate all of you for watching, for listening, for your support. If you want to support, if you want to contribute to the Patreon, patreon.com/whistlekick. You can do as little as $2 a month. If you want to drop a question, wait till the show's over, drop it below in the comment section. If you haven't, subscribe, turn on notifications, hit the thumbs up, that helps people discover the show. We're actually on we're prioritizing that now. We're trying to get more people to find the show. This is another entry point into the whistlekick, the whistle sphere, if you will. And I'll see you tomorrow, 6:30 Eastern Time, U.S. Eastern Time. Catch it in audio later as a podcast. Thank you. Have a great, 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 great day. Peace.